Welcome to another episode of That Crazy Triangle Guy. Okay, we got the Bitcoin US dollar index on the weekly time frame up here for the full history of Bitcoin. Um, and what I wanted to show you on this chart here is the vertical lines that I've drawn and why I've drawn them. This green vertical line I'll have to show you in just a minute. But first of all, let me remove my cursor and get this arrow. What I have on my chart is a curved, doesn't look curved here, but it is. Change that. Anyway, it marks the top of the weekly Gaussian channel, this green dashed line. Now, this white or yellow line, I can't tell because I have my night filter or my whatever, the filter on the computer that cuts the blue light out. So I don't know if this is white or yellow. It's probably white. Um, this vertical line marks where we've crossed through the top of the weekly Gaussian channel after we've coming out of the bottom of the market cycle and crossing up through the red. And then the lavender color line marks the where we've come back down and retested the top of the weekly Gaussian channel, and the blue line is the halving event. And I'll get back to the green line in a second, but I also want to, since I did state this, that we retested the top of the weekly Gaussian channel. That just happens to coincide with what we're actually doing is retesting previous support back here from our previous bull run period. So each cycle when we're coming back down and retesting the top of the weekly Gaussian channel, we are in reality testing. Let's go over here where we. You know what? I don't like it when I. There we go. Where we've come back down and retested. You can see that we are retesting previous support. Previous support here. Same thing here. When we come back down and retested, we're testing these previous support levels. It's very important to understand that because that's what we're currently doing. We're coming back down and retesting the top of the weekly Gaussian channel. We are retesting these support levels at the $29,000 region. So a lot of people don't understand what we're doing right now. It's the same thing we've done time and time and time again, and they just don't get it. Now let me move to a monthly time frame, and I'll show you what the green lines are. The green lines mark where we've. I have this. It's an accumulation distribution with markers. It's a community script on TradingView, and what it is, it's a moving average of the it's a moving average oscillator of the accumulation distribution line, and I found that the slope of this indicator is very, very helpful in measuring the strength of price action. Um, so the green lines, the green vertical lines represent, and I'll have to zoom in here, represent, now this is on a monthly time frame, so it's where we've crossed above the zero line from red to green. And so you can see here, this is March, we were below, and then in April, we crossed above. Uh, Same here. In June, we were below, and in, zoom out more. June, we were below, and in July, we crossed above. Um, Now, I'm pointing this out because someone else that another analysis that I watch on YouTube, flat out lied to you guys. And it's important when you listen to these other people. There's a lot of them, and I don't know why this guy did that because he's OCD and he should know better. But a lot of these guys have an agenda. Okay, they're trading against you. They want to tell you the truth, but not the. And this goes for everybody that tells you stuff, especially the news media and whoever. People will tell you mostly truth. 90% of it might be truth, but it's the 10% that's not true that they is their agenda. Um, but a lot of times, not even 90% of what they say is true. It's all an agenda. It's all jaded, so whatever. Anyway, he was pointing out the month after our cross above the zero line here and how it was more likely than not a down month, which is a bunch of bullshit. Okay. Back here in 2012, when we crossed from red to green above the line, then I marked it with this green line. So this move represents the prior month, and now we are in this month currently. And let me turn the Gaussian channel off because it's distorting the colors. This is the month after the move upwards right here, July 2012. Green month, green month, green month, 3 green months in a row. Now that doesn't look like a lot, but if we zoom in here, in our green month, our green line happens to coincide with their move from through the top of the Gaussian channel here. The next 3 months after we cross through is a 90% gain in 2012. So, okay, let's go to where we crossed over here in 2016. So March we were below. June is the first month after we crossed above. Let's look up here. Huh, I'll be damned. Green month, and a green month, and a green month following. And that move for the next 3 months after we crossed above here, about 70%. I can't really see, and I'm not going to get all about it. It's not that important. It's a big move over the next 3 months. Here in 20, so August 2020, we were below, and September 2020 was the first month we were above, and it was a red month. Got 1 out of 3. But if you measure, okay, if you measure from where we started the month, we went down, we ended the month about 8%. And this isn't real accurate here. I'm not really zoomed in enough to measure it accurately, but okay, so it's a little bit, somewhere 7-8%, something like that for that month, and then staying at the price where we started that month. The next month was a 20%. We were 20% up, and the following month, 65% up. And you can see it still continued 150. It kept continuing upwards and upwards and upwards. Oh, that was our bull run. So, no, not typically a red month after we cross above the green line, which we are currently doing. So, yeah, I'm looking for big gains in the next few months ahead. Now, also, I've so the slopes. Okay, let's look at the slopes of the lines. Let me turn these on like this. The slopes of the green lines. Remember, we moved up significantly here in 2012. We had a steep slope. And as I recall, you know what? It's hard to measure these things while I'm in this. I should have done this earlier. Yeah, that was about 70%. We had a steep, a shallow slope there, and we moved up 70%. But then you can see that was followed by two red candles where we fell back down. We were not able to support it. Here we had a nice gain followed by a smaller red candle, just one. What did we have here? We had a nice steep slope. And yeah, okay, so after that initial red candle of just a few percentages, we had our bull run. And this steep slope would supports that. Here we just crossed above, and the slope of our line is almost as steep as back here when we had the bull run. Not quite as steep, but almost. And it's not as steep as here, but almost. It's definitely much steeper than this one. So, the slope of this line would indicate that we have some significant price action upwards that should be coming right now. Now, the other slopes that I measured were the month after we initially crossed above the weekly move or the Gaussian channel on the weekly time frame, and the red line is the slope of the month after we retested the top of the Gaussian channel. So let's look at price action during those time periods. And back here in 2012, I'm going to take this cursor off here. I'm going to use my little arrow. Back here in 2012, let's see, we crossed above the weekly moving average here. This is our slope. And we had some nice price action moving upwards. We had a nice steep slope. Then when we retested the top of the Gaussian channel, we did have 1 month we had not as steep of slope. We did have a month where we moved up significantly, and then another month where we moved back down. Um, and again, I don't remember. But when I zoom out, you can see more clearly this price action is is coincides with our green and yellow sloped lines, and then here the month after we had a red sloping line, and while we had significant price action, we had a very large pullback. Let's go to the next one. And so this would be the month after our yellow slope, both our yellow and our, let me look back here. Yeah. Our yellow, excuse me, yellow and red are both similar in slope and kind of in between the slopes of these. Um, so yellow, we moved up. So this is kind of healthy price action. We moved up. We did have to come back down and retest to test previous support levels here. Um, and then moved up again. You know, and it's not clear. You just kind of gotta. Here we had a significant move downwards. Huge. This is a really large move downwards. Um, After significant price increases upwards, and after the green line here, this slope is very, very shallow. We had very, very shallow slope on this indicator, and that would be why we fell back down here. Current, oh, this is 2019, 2020. Let's get the price action down here. So we had initially yellow. Yellow, we didn't have much of a slope at all. Oh, that's right here. I'm sorry, it's right here. It's hard to see on this. You have to really zoom in. It's the step right here. It flattened out right there. So we had a very shallow slope, and we did have significant price action here, but then fell back down. And the red slope is not very steep as well. So this is why we had a big pullback here in 2019. Both those are not very steep. The red's a little bit more than the yellow, but when I zoom out here on the chart, you'll see that in 2019, both these are not very steep slopes. That's why we had this big, huge pullback. It wasn't able to support. We did have initially significant price action, but it could not be supported. That's what these slopes tell you, whether the price action will be supported or not. And then here, after the green line, the slope of this indicator was very, very steep, and that's when we had our bull run. Price action was supported there for quite many, many months. I'll zoom back out. We can see, when you zoom out, it's easier to see the slopes of these lines. And you can see here that these are not nearly as steep as previous ones. And the green line was. Now here, currently, this is why I'm really positive about the next few months. I see a significant bull run coming over the next few months, and then a pullback sometime around the beginning of the year, heading into the halving event. Um, all these lines are steep, and they are happening all in the same area. We had our initial move up through the Gaussian channel. We had our retest, currently having our retest to the top of the Gaussian channel, and have crossed above the zero line of this indicator, all very close to one another, and they all have steeply sloping lines. The most shallow of which was the yellow one, which is our initial um, our initial move through the top of the Gaussian channel, and maybe why we have been going sideways for such a, and I'm going to move to the weekly right now. Well, no, I'm not. But maybe why we're moving sideways for quite a while and then retesting. So the sideways movement is thoroughly testing the support level here. Um, the other thing I have on the chart is that I measured the amount of time from when we initially crossed through the top of the Gaussian channel on the weekly time frame to the halving event, and the time it took and the price increase. Here back in 2012, 4.5 months, 56% price increase. Here in 2015-16, from when we moved here to here, it was 7.5 months, and we had 84% price increase. Um, then in 2019, from where we moved through the top of the Gaussian channel to the halving event right here, it was a year, and we only had a 20% price increase. However, we had COVID in the middle, which kind of jacked things up. So currently, where we crossed through the top of the weekly Gaussian channel to the halving event is approximately 10 months. We don't know exactly. So it falls somewhere in between 2015 and 2016. And I think what we'll see in price action is also something, a combination. So we do have cycles, but we have different cycles within the cycles. So that's going to affect how things play out. And I just wanted to point out all these things to you. And, you know, do what you want with that knowledge. Now let's forget all that and move to the chart here. Now let's quickly move to current price action. Here we are on the weekly Bitcoin US index chart. With the Gaussian channel pulled up, I just wanted to show that the red lines that I've drawn here coincide with the mean band and the top of the weekly Gaussian channel. Let's move to the daily um, and show you that the green dashed lines that I have here coincide with the bottom mean band and top of the daily Gaussian channel. Now let's turn the Gaussian channel off. And currently where we are at after extensively trading sideways here for many, many, many months, testing the range of support and resistance between 25,000 and $29,000 here. It's hard to see with all the lines that I've had anyway. This whole range here of support and resistance that we've had in the recent life of resistance here, this whole range, building structure, support here. That's what we've been doing before finally breaking through, retesting, just to be doubly absolutely sure that we've thoroughly retested this 28.8 region before making the next move upwards. So currently, let me zoom in some more. This is where we are at, above the top of the weekly Gaussian channel. This green wick, and I'm going to turn my cursor onto an arrow. This green wick here was our retest. All this is getting bought up. Anybody selling here thinking we're going to go down to 27, 25, whatever, is going to be SOL. All this is getting bought up. There's huge support right here at around 29,000. This fuchsia colored line, vertical dashed line, is our CPI release next August 10th. Here, August 10th, CPI data coming out, and Friday, August 11th, producer price index coming out. So those investors are looking are looking. Inflation's a big concern, so they just want to make sure, absolutely, that we don't have anything to worry about. And I think that anything that doesn't show us heading back into severe recession is going to be positive. So we are currently sitting on the mean band of the daily Gaussian channel, and I, I, I don't know. I don't believe we're going to go below that. We're holding support here. We'll see. We could come back down to this range heading into the CPI. I don't know. Um, but I think we could hold support here and possibly have people front running the CPI release, because once we get this, I believe we're going to bust out through the top of the daily Gaussian channel here and make our move. This will be our bounce off of the top of the weekly right here. And then we will come up, we will see significant move up to, and I believe I have 40,000 as a target here. I think that might be a little too high. I think we will come up to 37,711 right here. It's a previous level of support. And then I do think we will come down and retest in this area in the months ahead. Now we got the same thing going on the total 3 crypto market cap. we're testing here we're holding support here on the mean band and the of the daily and the bottom of the weekly Gaussian channel. So, and here is the CPI data release. I think we'll travel in the between the mean band and the top of the daily Gaussian channel up through the weekly, up through here. We'll find this. You know what? I'm going to run out of time, so I'll get into this on my next video. Yeah, so like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.